Things like this usually don't happen in a community like ours. It's very tragic.
Investigators release autopsy reports today for 8 members of an Ohio family killed execution style.
We begin tonight with a deadline that has passed for the mother of 2 missing children from Rexburg.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and in today's episode we are going to be discussing some updates in the case of Mary Gingles. If you've been with me for a while now, then you know that this is one of those cases for me. It stuck with me from the moment I saw it, and I will continue to report on it as it moves through the courts and we continue to seek justice for Mary Gingles, Dave Ponzer, and Andrew Farron. I had originally planned to include this in a more broader update video, but there seems to be enough that I decided it deserves its own. I'll be covering some of the smaller updates in another case, and I think there'll be another video on there was a preliminary hearing in Desmond Burke's. He is charged with the murder of Devin Hoover. I'll go over that in a different video as well, so keep an eye out for those. If you're new to this case, I'll give you a quick recap, but I'll also link the first video I did on it here. I've done 1 or 2 updates in the case as well, and I'll link those in the comments below if I remember, but I think I'll just start a playlist with it now so that's easier to find. But let's get right into it. I do have to remind you though to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. They're free ways to help me out. Now this case takes place in Tamarac, Florida. Around 6 a.m. on February 16, 2015, Nathan Gingles took the life of his father-in-law, David Ponzer, while David was just sitting on the front porch of his daughter's home enjoying a cup of coffee. Mary, David's daughter and Nathan's wife, ran out of the house seeking help as Nathan chased her down the street, calmly pointing a gun at her as he followed behind her. At one point, Mary ran into the home of Andrew Farron, who lived there with his uncle. Mary and Andrew did not know each other, and she was just simply running for her life. Nathan followed her inside, shooting both Mary and Andrew, killing them. All this happened in front of Nathan and Mary's 4-year-old daughter, who was following behind them. An Amber Alert was issued for the little girl, and police would eventually locate her and Nathan leaving a Walmart nearby. Thankfully, she was found alive and physically unharmed, but we all know that she's going to be carrying the weight of what she witnessed for the rest of her life. Now, one of the most heartbreaking aspects of this case is that Mary had reached out to the police multiple times for help. I'll be talking more about that as we get into the updates, though. Now, Nathan was arrested and has remained in jail in Florida since the murders. In March, it was announced that this was being treated as a capital case and the state will be seeking the death penalty, given the fact that he took 3 lives point blank out of what appears to be pure hatred. Now, since I made my first video on this where I talked about the victims, some more info has been released on Mary and her father, and I wanted to share a little bit about that. Now, I did share about Andrew in that video, like I said, that's linked, but there wasn't much on Mary and David then. I think they all deserve to be remembered. So like I said, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about them now, and then we'll get into where the case stands along with some more police response updates. Mary Catherine Ponzer was born to David and Faith Ponzer on December 22, 1990 in Mountain View, California. She had one sister who truly cherished her, and those who knew her described her as vibrant and full of life. Her family eventually moved to Missouri in 2006, where she would graduate high school in 2009. She went on to earn her bachelor's degree from Missouri University of Science and Technology in 2016. Mary then enlisted in the United States Army in 2016 until 2020, which took her to places around the world such as South Korea and Germany. She found joy in many things, including scuba diving, splunking, and running. But more than anything, she loved her daughter, a daughter that she only got 4 short years with. I also want to take a moment to talk about Mary's father, Dave Ponzer, whose life was also lost that day. My heart really goes out to Mary's sister and Dave's daughter, who lost both her father and her sister in such a devastating way. While researching, I came across David's obituary, and I saw something that wasn't mentioned in Mary's. It did look like David had another son who had already passed away. Now, I did do a little bit deeper digging because it's always tragic when someone loses 2 children, and it looks like his family has endured more than their share of heartbreak. It appears from what I was able to find that David's son struggled with mental illness and tragically took his mother's life and then took his own in 2018. Now, 64-year-old David Ponzer was born on January 31st, 1961 to George and Doris Ponzer. He was described as someone who was passionate about life and deeply loved his family. He also served in the United States Air Force, later returning to Missouri in 2006. In his younger years, he enjoyed weightlifting, cars, and rock climbing. As his tribute said, above all, David cherished his family and loved fiercely. He died heroically, giving his life in an effort to protect his beloved daughter, Mary Catherine. Now, I also want to touch base where this case stands in the court system. As I mentioned earlier, this is happening in Florida, and Florida is one of the easiest states to find court documents. They have the Sunshine Law. It lets us see everything that's happening. So while I was looking through filings, I found a few things I wanted to talk to you guys about. One of those that caught my eye on this was not something that is really a big deal, but I did see the signature of Christine Bradley on some of the documents for the prosecution in the state of Florida. If that name sounds familiar, it's because she was one of the prosecutors in the Y&W Melly case before she was removed. In that case, some issues came up involving the lead detective allegedly lying to gain access to Melly's mother's phone. While the judge said he didn't believe Bradley had been compromised, he did remove her from the case out of abundance of caution. The whole situation just left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But it looks like this case is moving through the court system just slowly, and that seems pretty normal for such a case of this magnitude. Capital cases move much slower than other ones, it seems. There have been a few motions filed recently, including a request for Nathan's medical records from the VA. Supplemental discovery was provided, and then most recently, the defense filed motions requesting a closed preliminary hearing and a gag order, citing that the release of the body cam footage of Nathan getting arrested and some of the updates that the sheriffs have provided have brought a lot of publicity in this case. Not the fact that he chased down and shot 3 people, the fact that other people are talking about it. The Miami Herald has filed a motion opposing the closed hearing, which of course isn't surprising, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. It looks like there's another court hearing scheduled for July 31st at 9 a.m., and I'll make sure to update you guys on anything that comes out of that. I also came across some documents in the filings that I wanted to share with you, specifically what Mary included in filing for a restraining order. I'm going to go ahead and post these on the screen now, but I'm going to read them for anyone listening to the podcast. So, in one of the documents, we learned that Mary and Nathan, which I may have called Nathaniel through this, I'm not entirely sure why I do that, but we see in this court document that she wrote that her and Nathan met in 2016, which was the first year that she joined the Army, December 26, 2018. And then in another document, you can see some items where she checked off, and it looks like it says respondent owns, has, and or is known to have guns or other weapons, describe weapons, multiple guns, she wrote. Now, there's a handwritten document that she submitted with it where it says, Nathan woke up midday after staying up all night on a drug-fueled Adderall snorting episode. Redacted and I were playing downstairs with her dinosaur Taurus when he started stomping around. He quickly ran downstairs after startling Redacted, who ran over to me to pick her up. He called me a stupid bitch and then went to the refrigerator to look for coffee and started singing a song about how he was going to kill me and about how bitches don't know anything. He sang that he was going to shoot me and that there was nothing I could do about it. I took Redacted and left to the park to get out of the house. When we got home, he was hiding in the house. I called out for him, but he didn't respond. Redacted and I went up to the bath, after which Nathan appeared and said, if he had been an intruder, we would have been dead, like fish in a barrel. There's another one that was typed up that with the date February 2024, Tamarac, Florida. I live in constant fear of my husband, Nathan. He threatens and intimidates me weekly using names like stupid bitch, filthy hoe, trash, garbage, hobo, etc. This treatment extends to Redacted, our now redacted year-old daughter. He has also physically assaulted me. However, his biggest threat may be the sheer isolation he has forced upon me. Nathan would not get away with anything else if it had not been for the isolation. Since Nathan left the military, he started abusing his, I suspect, expired Adderall prescription. He will snort Adderall and stay up all night while Redacted and I try to sleep. He has left lines of crushed Adderall on his dresser while leaving for work in the mornings. My fear for Redacted and I is amplified now as I have retained a lawyer for divorce proceedings against Nathan. He has told me more than once, if you try to leave me, I will kill you. He is well equipped to carry such out a threat, owning around 20 firearms, those including a suppressed AK, a suppressed AR, a suppressed shotgun, multiple suppressed handguns, etc. I do not have control of my own user ID passwords for online accounts. These are maintained by Nathan in a way that allows him to, at will, log in as me and or deny me access. When I fled our house yesterday, he changed my DS login password associated with my VA benefits and my Samsung password, locking me out of those accounts. Who knows what he is doing in these and other accounts as a hostile surrogate. Nathan keeps mine and Redacted's legal documents, passports, birth certificates, social security cards, locked away and refuses me access. About 4 years ago, me being pregnant, Nathan decided we were moving to Germany. He forced me to sell my car, and I have not had a car since. This is with me being pregnant or the primary, realistically only caregiver for our daughter. Nathan does not allow me to have friends to come over to our house. Mine and Redacted's interaction with others is generally regulated to our hikes to a local park. Nathan is an isolationist, and he is forcing that lifestyle on Redacted and I. In the past few weeks, he has said that I will apply for full military disability, PTSD. Then he will quit his job and move us to some remote property. Every weekend, Nathan will do something to intimidate and terrorize Redacted, causing extreme stress in the house. He will stomp around the house in loud, heavy shoes to scare Redacted while yelling disconnected things like, "I want to taste the flesh of the innocent." He will hide in the house and jump out and scare her or me, or sometimes just to see how long he can evade detection. He might hide for an hour or more just to watch us. He will force Redacted to cuddle with him even when she makes it clear that she doesn't want to be touched and wants to be left alone. These crazy behaviors cause me to spend a lot of time with Redacted outside of the house on weekends when he is home. We all walk on eggshells to evade his rage. He will get angry at the simplest thing. A toy left out, he stubs his toe, I buy the wrong bread, and start throwing things around the house. He has been violent with me on multiple occasions, some of which I specified below. Mid-December 2023, Tamarac, Florida. I wanted to visit my grandfather, who was on hospice care in Missouri. When asked, Nathan got angry and said that I could visit him when I had a job that pays. I told him I'd be happy to take Redacted with me, and he said I wasn't allowed. I took my phone to call my dad and booked a flight with his frequent flyer miles. He snatched my phone away while blocking me from leaving, saying he'll tell me when I get to go. April 2023, Tamarac, Florida. Nathan was sitting on the bed reading his Kindle when our daughter, Redacted, who was 2 at the time, jumped on him. He pushed her off, causing her to hit her head. She screamed, and I rushed to pick her up. I ran downstairs to put space between us and Nathan. Nathan followed me, calling me a stupid bitch, cursing me out, and blaming me for his hurting Redacted. He grabbed her out of my arms and put her on the ground while she was crying hysterically. He then put me in a chokehold and dragged me up the stairs to the linen closet, where he threw me down and told me, "If you ever try to leave me, I'll kill you." November 22nd, 2022, Germany. Nathan started asking for coffee when he woke up midday. I was annoyed because I hadn't slept well and had been up with Redacted for several hours. I was busy consoling Redacted, so I told him to make it himself. He picked up Redacted, put her in her walker, and then slapped me. Dumbfounded, I started to make his coffee. And then it's written, because of Nathan's psychotic behavior, his multiple threats, his drug use, his multiple/many silenced firearms, and my impending divorce action, I'm afraid Nathan will kill me and my daughter. I'm willing to submit to psychological and drug testing and believe it is necessary Nathan does the same. Now, these documents were submitted in February 2024 when Mary filed for and was granted an injunction against Nathan. As a result, police removed his firearms from his possession. However, the injunction was dismissed in July of 2024 after Mary decided to drop it. It appears that Nathan agreed to a no harmful contact order with the court, which ultimately led to his weapons being returned. But by fall, Mary had begun noticing an increase in his stalking behavior. In her own words, she said she feared that Nathan was aiming to kill her. In October of 2024, she found that tracking device on her car that she had mentioned she had previously seen as one of Nathan's purchases. She reported it to police. She called and emailed them without receiving any response. And in late December, she noticed Nathan at her home. He had moved the ladder and placed a book bag in her garage. We discussed that in the first video. When she looked inside the bag, she found deeply concerning items: alcohol, zip ties, plastic gloves, syringes, just stuff that would make you nervous as hell. Like, I could not imagine finding that in my garage. Mary filed another injunction after that, stating that she believed Nathan was going to kill her before their lease was up in February of 2025. This injunction was granted, but it doesn't appear that police confiscated his guns this time. And later we learned through the sheriff that officers actually had enough probable cause to arrest Nathan after the incidents in October and December, but they didn't. As I mentioned in my first video, this led to some serious fallout within the sheriff's office. Within the first few weeks, 8 employees were suspended. Sergeants and even a captain was demoted and then later fired after not meeting standards during their probationary period. This decision was directly tied to how they handled Mary's case. These officers would include the officers who didn't return her phone calls or emails, and deputies that would let Nathan walk right past him. On the morning of February 16th, he was dressed in all black. They responded to the scene after hearing gunshots, and then Nathan walked right past him with a little girl with no shoes on, and that police officer just let him. I don't understand. But a further investigation was done, and 7 more deputies were placed on leave for the role in failing Mary. It looks like the investigation has wrapped up, and in total the sheriff has actually recommended that 10 deputies be fired. Now, all those before that I talked about, I think there was like 13, over a dozen have been suspended. They recommended 10 of them be fired. Now, they do have the right to go before a review board and address this issue, give their side of the story, and plead to keep their job. But honestly, I'm glad to see that some sort of accountability is happening because, in my opinion, these failures came down to the people just not caring enough. I don't understand the mindset of a police officer not responding to somebody who is in fear for their life. I do understand that life is busy, your workload is busy, but just not responding to somebody, and this, I hope he has trouble sleeping at night. 3 people lost their lives because people just failed to act. It blows my mind. But I do want to point out, this is obviously not all officers. There's some great officers out there. I want to recognize that. Maybe some of them, of these ones that we discussed, were newer deputies and maybe they're just overwhelmed. But at the end of the day, somebody needed to step up. That's what they signed up to do when they took that position. But nobody did. So that's where we are with this case. It's pushing through trial, I hope sooner than later. But like I said, it's death. It's different, they say. So it's probably going to take a little bit longer than most other cases to get to where we need to be. Hopefully he ends up pleading out and saving all 3 of the victims' family from dealing with this. But that's really all I have for this update. Usually I like to put them with other case updates that I'm doing. But there were some things I wanted to discuss and wanted to share, specifically Mary's documents for what she was going through and what type of husband and father Nathan was. A trash one for sure. But as it goes through the court systems, I will definitely keep you guys updated. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate you. Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates like this and any other cases that we've discussed. Like I said, there's another one coming out for a preliminary hearing for another one I'm following. But until next time, stay safe out there. Y'all know this world can be an ugly place.